Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Nidhaya Hridi Vishveshvam Vidaya Guru Vandanam Balanam Sukhabodhaya Kriyate Tarka samgraha. So we are seeing the second section 2, and we saw up to Tejas. Okay, light heat goes together. Okay? Light and heat both goes together because yeah. So that is where the whole thing we saw. Yeah. That warmth, heat also. No, because they are taking as Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apa, Prithvi. So that's why they are taking it each separate. Yeah. Because 5 elements you are talking about. No? You are talking about the 5 elements. Yeah. There is a difference. Thank you. There is a difference between the way Vedanta looks at the 5 elements and here we look at it. There is a huge difference in the whole thing. Okay. Because in Vedanta, none of the elements have got Nityatvam. Whereas here, all the elements. Okay. What is it? Tell me.
One is from that samgraha only, page 34, Parasparam Cheti Dushitam.
One second. Let me refer to what you are saying. 34, previous section. Okay. Yep. What is that? This thing 5, 6?
Classification of generality. Param Cheti Dushitam Samanyam. This I am not able to understand completely. One more question.
Okay. Now when you are saying Samanyam, we are talking about what is generally common. Samanya gunas. Okay. Like human beings, Samanyam. Humanness is Samanyam. Correct? You understood what Samanyam. Male, female is similar to a jati. Or if you don't want to look into it as jati, people having 2 legs. So, okay. Yeah. Or the group, Samanyam, everyone who works erect. So the monkey also will come into the picture. Okay. Yeah. So like this is general. Then he says, Param, Aparam cha. One which is more broad-based, one which is more narrow. Vedanta students, narrow, Samanya. Others are broad, human beings very broad. Yeah. Therefore, Param which is broader, narrow. Okay. Yeah.
One more question.
Yeah, shoot.
But not from this.
What is that?
What is Jnana Nishtha?
Jnana and Nishtha is you are so rooted in this knowledge that you don't forget it at any time. It is constantly in their background of your mind. That your limitless awareness is always there with you.
If a person has Jnana Nishtha, can he conclude
He is?
real self-realized?
That is what is self-realized is. Yeah. Sthita prajna, etc. are the terms used, no?
How is it different from Karma Nishtha?
Karma nishtha is you have a nishtha and commitment to karma. See, nishtha means a commitment to, it has become part of your lifestyle. So karma nishtha means karma is your thing. You need not be a karma yogi. Yoga is with attitude. Nishtha means your commitment to karma in your life. You are doing a lot of karma. Nishtha is not attitude. Nishtha is what you have brought into your life. You can be a japa nishtha. Every day you do lots of japa. One mala is not called japa nishtha. Okay. Like saying dhanavan. I have 10 bucks in my pocket. That doesn't make me dhanavan. Yeah. If you have lots of money, then you are called dhanavan. Yeah. So similarly, the japa nishta, commitment to japa in your life. Every day you will do so many malas, that, etc. Tapo nishta, you are committed to tapas in your life. Similarly, jnana nishta, you are committed to knowledge, you have made it a fact of your life. How many nishta? How many? Yeah. Karma nishta. You will do a lot of karma. He will be running around like a headless chicken. Doing a lot of karma. Or kya bole? Yeah. But generally when you use the word karma nishta, it refers to Vedic karma. Okay? So homas, yagadi, etc. Yeah. It will start with minimum. If you are a brahmachari, samidadanam. If you are a householder, agnihotra. It doesn't take long. But that is minimum karma nishta. Every day you will do it. Unless where you are not well enough or something like that, I will not do it. So that way. The nishta means that. What you have brought into your life. So jnana nishta, jnanam is there in your life. Yeah. So you are rooted in that knowledge. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Okay. Fair enough. Any other questions or shall we go ahead? Okay. All right. Then remember Pancha Bhutas. Therefore, he is taking next one is Vayu. Okay, 43. Okay. Rupa Rahita Sparshavan Vayu. That which does not have any particular form or color, but Sparshavan, which has got touch. Earth has got touch, but it has got form and color. Water has got touch, but has got form and color again. What is unique? Rupa Rahitam, but Sparshavan. No form, no color. Air, what form or color is there? Rupa Rahita Sparshavan Vayuhu. Okay, so let us see. Akashado Ativyapti Varanaya Sparshaniti. To see that the definition does not overextend itself to Akasha, space, because space is also Bhuta. We are saying Sparshavan, that it can be touched, because Akasha you can't touch. Then Prithivya Ativyapti Varanaya Rupa Rahiteti. So that it will not overextend itself to Prithvi, Jalam, etc., Apaha, etc. We are talking about it as Sparsha, Rupa Rahitam, which does not have any form. Rupa Rahitam iti. Okay. Sadivida, it is twofold. What is the twofold now? He says Nityam Anityam Chaiti. It is also Nityam and Anityam. Vayu, yes. Nityam Paramanu Rupa. What the atomic particle or the molecular particle is called Nityam. Because remember in Tarka or Nyaya, Paramanus are Nityam. Therefore the Paramanus of anything will be considered Nityam. That's the paradigm they have used. Okay? We will dismiss it. But their paradigm is this. Okay, Nityam. Anityam Karya Rupa. What is Anityam? Whatever is effect of the Paramanus combining together to form, and that is what becomes Karyam. Therefore, Karyam Anityam, Karanam Satyam. That's how they are taking it. Karanam Nityam. Here instead of Satyam, they are using the word Nityam. That is, Karyam is Punaha Trivida. Karyam is threefold. What is that? Sharira, Indriya, Vishya, Bhedat. Like the previous one. Sharira, Indriya, Vishya, Bhedat. So, where you will get Vayu Shariram? Vayu Loka. Okay, simple. You can't say Vayu Loka is not there. Because we worship Vayu Putra. Yeah, Hanumanji, so his father, Vayu. For his loka, Shariram is there, Vayu Shariram. Okay. Indriyam sparsha grahakam tvak shariravarti. What is the sense organ? Tvak, your skin, which is all over shariravarti. Okay. So, that is it. Now, object of that, you don't see Vayu, you feel it, yes, but perception they will see as if predominantly they are looking at eyes. Therefore, they will say Vrikshadi Kampana Hetuhu. Where is the form? Vishayasa, object. Whenever you see anything is shaking, like that leaves there, that tree is shaking out there. Therefore, that Kampana Hetu is Vayu. Remember, this is just observe. What you observed, you are describing. That's the beginning of the scientific process. Okay? Yeah. Then he makes a difference. Sharira anta sancharani vayu pranaha. The vayu that moves in your sharira gets a different name. Pranaha iti. Sa eko api upadi vedat prana apanadi sanya labate. Even though prana is one, because of upadi vedat, how it expresses its function, it will begin prana. So your breathing will be considered prana. All things that you throw out will be considered apana, including breathing out. Okay, apana. Yeah. Then digestion, vyanaha, samanaha, circulation. All this is function of prana. So really speaking, when you say vayu and prana, you are not limiting it to the air itself. You are including the energy pattern in it. Okay, the energy is being included into the whole thing. Yeah, the whole energy pattern comes into the picture. Yeah. Because that's how Vayu is. That's how prana is. But to handle the energy, you use the breath. Or you use no breath also after some time. Okay? After some time of pranayama, I'm digressing a bit. The prana moves without your breath, independent of your breath. Independent of breath. Kumbhaka is part of your breathing exercise. Your physical body is sustained by prana. Yes, the food that you eat, etc., are secondary factors. Necessary. Yes, but without the prana, it will not be sustained. The food will not be digested in the first place. This constant energy that is flowing into you from the cosmos, that is included in Vayu. Yeah, you can't say it's not there. It's there very much. Because I can cut off some of the energy flowing into you temporarily, your functioning is affected. The functioning can be affected. You can even die. Tantric karmas use that to cut off the energy flowing into you. You don't know why you fall ill and die. Doctors can't do anything. What they call as voodoo practices in the West. Huh? Now, if you are not seen or experienced it, you will take it as belief systems. That's okay. It's secondary to our studies. It's not primary anyway. So it's okay whether you know or not. But because it is there in the passing, I am mentioning it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah?
When we are talking about value, why are they not
Because light and sound as far as the body is concerned.
Why you need something to propagate light and sound, right?
I didn't follow the question.
You were talking about Vayu.
Yeah,
But for light and sound, it goes through Vayu only, right?
yeah, yeah.
So that angle they are not
They are not bothered about, no. They are not taken that into account. Yeah. Because even without Vayu, light will go through.
But was that known then?
Yeah. That's why they are not included. Because you don't need Vayu to have light going through. That's why all energies can move without Vayu also. So even though this is the interesting thing. When you do pranayamas, etc., we say, okay, you're controlling the breath to harness the energy, which is true. But the energy will function even without your breath. The manifestation you see for an ordinary human being, it is like that. But even without, how does a person remain alive in samadhi? Breathing maybe once in an hour or something like that. Once in half an hour, once in an hour. No breath. Yeah. But you kept alive. The constant energy exchange that happens between the universe and you. It is not easy to discern that happening in your own body. Because we are so used to breath. And with breathing, you can change a lot of things in your system. Anyone here suffering from high BP? Okay. Do one thing, for example. Breathe in and breathe out through the mouth, a bit forcefully. Breathe in. Breathe in. Do it 4-5 times and then check your BP. You will find it has dropped at least 20 points. Guaranteeing you. But it will come back again. It will come back again. Now, so what we are seeing is the manifested effect of the breath. Okay. But even without breath, lot of energy work is happening in your system unknown to you. This is how you bring something unknown to your knowledge. By this breathing, for example, where this stops down just because you exhaled more.
So what you told us just now, is it sheepering?
Is it?
Sheepering?
No. No. You all want to label it and categorize it to what we know, Yeah. So, this way you can, when you are looking at it, the whole thing comes into the picture. Yeah. So then the energy can work even without your breath. With your mind intention started going. Yeah, started going slightly with your mind intention. And then, but these are all advanced level of yoga that is there. Yeah, because without breath also it functions. So you don't need breath for the energy to move. That's what I am trying to say. What I am trying to show is that without breath also energy can move. Light can move. Because light travels from the sun to earth, there is no Vayu there. At the same time you can say the energy is there, cosmic Vayu is there. Yeah. So it becomes very nebulous. What we are talking is not purely scientific. At the same time it is not completely different from science also. You know?
Sorry, slightly off-beat question, but in the Tai Chi camp, we had done that experiment, of cutting off that.
Yeah. That is the simplest demonstration possible. Yeah. But there are more complex demonstrations. According to modern science, for example, you need breathing for every activity. So if you are doing an athletic activity, you need a lot of breath. It becomes an aerobic activity. Even something like doing push-ups can become aerobic activity because you're doing it fast and you're doing a certain number. So you're breathing in and out with the push-up. With the application of force, you're breathing out. Then you learn to do it without breathing. Yeah, you can be. Yeah. Without breathing, you learn. That means you don't, without air, you are functioning. Why? The energy takes over. But you have to train the body to be able to do that, to be able to aware of that. That's why energy moves even when there is no air. But since for the common person, it is connected with your breathing, etc., we will say prana.
Similar to the muscle memory example you give.
Huh?
Similar to the muscle memory example you give.
Yeah, it's similar to that. In some way, okay, one dimension of it is that. Your muscle will remember your activity. Yeah. For 7 years, very comfortably. After that, it may, go a bit down.
So
Left.
where do they put energy
Hmm?
then? Energy goes in.
Because prana comes into the picture, no?
But where do the Nyaya people put energy?
With prana, with air, with air. Okay. Now he is having a Purva here that it's okay, Sashi, if you have missed it, miss it. Don't disturb the class in between like that. Catch up on the video. Then, if you are here, he is talking about there's a Purva that the air is also visible. Why? Because perception, no? Touch is also part of perception. He's saying no, what we call visible, we are limiting it to your eyes. Since it has got no color or form, we can't see it. Okay, that way, All right. Now, something he touches upon in the commentary, but I think I need to elaborate. In the Nyaya theory of creation, he has touched this in the commentary. In the Nyaya theory of creation, Akasha is left out. Akasha is taken as the substratum. He will say Akasha Nitya. Okay, let us see that, then I will come back to the theory. Here he touches it, but let us see it. It will become easier then. Okay. What is Akasha? Shabda Gunakam Akasham. This is similar to other disciplines also. That which allows sound to go through is called Akasha. So sound energy, it comes into the picture. No? Akasha is the basis for all energy. Tacha Ekam, that is one. Vibhuhu Nityam Cha, all pervading, Nityaha, timeless. Like ancient physics, Newtonian physics took time and space as Nitya. It's only after Einsteinian physics, time and space in the Western science was taken as Anityam. But here it is taken as Nityam because Tarka was before Einstein. That limitation of time and space Vedanta talks about. Okay, Vedanta talks about, not that. That is why time also he is putting it here. Atitadi vyavahara etu kalaha. When you say past, future, etc., what makes that vyavahara transaction possible? That is called time. Last class got over at 11 o'clock. Or some time back I finished the other class. That's some time back. This type of vyavahara, transaction, with respect to past and future is because of time, he says. So does it, the definition is gone, fine. It doesn't go into anything else. There is no extension into anything else. Okay. Such a ekaha vibhu nityascha, that also is one. Time is considered as one. Okay. Vibhu and nitya. Okay, vibhu and nitya. Now, after, so time and space is taken as nityam. Then what will happen is, as far as creation is concerned in Nyaya, time and space are the basis, fixed, constants. Basis means constant. They are the constants in Nyaya. Then how does creation take place? He brings in Ishvara here because there is Ishvara in Nyaya. Nyaya accepts an Ishvara. An Ishvara that is established purely by logic. When we see Atma, we will do that. Okay? Yeah. By purely Nyaya Siddham. Purely by logic, not by the Shastra Pramana. There is a big difference here. Keep in that. That's why the Nyaya Siddha Ishvara of Nyaya we dismiss in Vedanta. Because Nyaya assumes that this world that you see is a created entity. Created by whom? Not by you or me, not by anyone within the creation. So you postulate an Ishvara. Like how other religions do, the same way Nyaya also follows the same thing. Ishvara has created it. How does he created it? By bringing the Paramanus of Vayu, Agni, Apa, Prithvi together in various permutations and combinations. Akasha is left out. Why? Because Akasha is constant. In Akasha, all the creation takes place. Therefore, they will talk about only permutations and combination of Vayu, Agni, Apa, Prithvi. Akasha is left out because they will take Akasha as a constant. Exactly how Newtonian physics looked at it in that way. Only Paramanu combinations are different. That's it. Now, how is this Ishvara dismissed in Vedanta? This type of Nyaya Siddha Ishvara? How in Vedanta do we dismiss it? Huh? But how do you dismiss it? Because there is Upadanam, Panchabhutas are there, and there is Nimittam, Ishvara. So, how do you dismiss this? Shastra says that's fine, what Vedanta says, we are clear. The question is, how is the argument of Nyaya as Ishvara dismissed? The creation itself cannot be established. Yes. Yeah. You do not see, okay, remember back. To see phone is created, minimum you have to see is Prakabhava, Pradvamsabhava. And somebody making some finite thing. Then by logic you can extend. Since it doesn't grow on a tree, okay, or there is no place called Mobilopedia or something like that, where mobiles will keep coming up naturally. Since such a thing is not there, we have to say this is a created entity.
Also, can we say that?
One second, listen now. Pragabhava, Pradvamsabhava is not, has to be seen or inferred, because you can. You not seen the Pradvamsabhava because still functional. Yeah. Pradvamsabhava is what? Later non-existence, after destruction. Prakabhava is before it is created. So this much you have to see. Can you see that as respect to this universe is concerned? So since this is Nyaya language, we are dismissing Nyaya through Nyaya language. Since Prakabhava and Pradvamsabhava cannot be seen for this creation, you cannot conclude this is a creation. If you cannot conclude this is a creation, how are you establishing a creator? Now look at it. Very many of the logic that Nyaya uses to establish an Ishvara, we use to understand Ishvara. There is a big difference in this. Logic for us is support to understand. Logic for the Nyayika is to establish. Then comes what you said, that if there is an Ishvara, Ishvara himself has to say, I am there. Therefore, Vedas are from Ishvara, and in the Veda, Ishvara himself says that I am the creator. Mata samasti bhutani, etc. All that thing is there. Therefore, it has to come. It cannot come from any other source. Ishvara, if there is God, God has to reveal himself. Because he is not within the creation, he is not outside the creation either. So if there is a God, there is no way we can know God, find God, unless God himself has revealed. That's why every religion, directly or indirectly, claims to be from God. Yeah, every religion claims. Then you have to see logically what it is said. Yeah. Because it cannot say something illogically or for my convenience. If God has said something, it can't be out of convenience of the prophet, whoever is revealing it. It has to be fact universally accepted. If it is not revealing a universally accepted fact, you have to say that religion was meant for a particular time and place. Had validity there. I am not dismissing it as invalid, but the validity was limited to that time and place. Yeah. So, there it comes.
How do you explain this creation we are seeing? I mean, say creation, we are seeing this. And then we are even seeing the scientists say that this black hole is being created, some galaxies are being destroyed. So, if we say like samgraha and this existing, so how we discuss that or how we do that nyaya?
That's why from Nyaya you can't prove. That's why Nyaya is not complete by itself. Because Nyaya based on observation what you are seeing and extrapolating from that. So that is what he is doing. He is extrapolating that this whole universe is a creation from the fact that he sees one object is being created. But one object created, Pradhamsa Prakabhava is there. See, you can't overextend a logic from on the basis of one thing. You cannot say everything has to be like that. You cannot overextend. Yeah. That overextension is a problem. That's why they themselves don't believe in it. That's why they have the idea of ativyapti and avyapti. No? Not extending enough or overextending. Yeah. So, you cannot, you cannot establish a God only on the basis of logic. But you can understand. Understand with logic. But the understanding logic should be logical. It cannot be illogical. Remember this very clearly. You cannot put God in a place and say he is formless. Some religions do that. Puts God in a particular place. And then he says that is formless. Formless means no boundaries, no limits, is everywhere. How can you put him in a place then? But you can say the formless can manifest a form which is available in a place. That's a concept of deities. Can manifest and is there. But then you have to say, is he there or is he here or is he everywhere? Is he there, here or everywhere? What is it? Is he limited? Because when the moment you say formless, it cannot be limited. You can't worship forms. Okay. Then how are you going to worship? Yeah. How are you going to worship formlessness? Yeah. We are not saying we are worshipping forms. We are invoking the Lord in a particular form. Because I can't worship the formless, I am relating to it. So whether it is a religion or a philosophy, it cannot replace your humanness. It has to enhance your human values. Any religious value has to enhance your human values. Yeah. You can't for the sake of religion kill, etc. Whichever religion it is. How can you kill somebody just because he doesn't believe in what you say? I want to convert the world to my religion. Hey. And in the process you destroy all indigenous systems. That's not done. That means what? The religious value that is being propagated by that particular organization, not by the founders of the world, but that particular organization, religious organization, is against humanness. If it is against humanness, it is not enhancing human values. If it is not enhancing human values, then it is downgrading, not upgrading the human being. Yeah. Then you have to be purely belief oriented and brainwashed to do what is they say. Because you have to overcome the human goodness that is there. The goodness that is natural in a human being. the empathy that is there in every human being. Whether you do something about it or not, when you see suffering, there is an emotional response in you. How much will vary from individual to individual. But basic response is there. Dharma is universal. I don't want to be cheated, I won't cheat you. I don't want you to kill me, I won't kill you. Simple as that. But if you don't believe what I believe, you will kill. Hey, that is dismissing basic dharma. For that, you have to be brainwashed and conditioned. Otherwise, it won't happen. So you have to catch them young. Can you see the whole process? Problematic. Yeah. Problematic situation you end up with. It comes from where? This is the voice of God. Correct? Are you going to understand it logically? Or are you going to understand it illogically? Or you are going to take it and make it a condition? That's where the whole thing comes in. For us, it's not a conditioning, it's a basis for understanding. Yeah. The Upanishad is the words of God, then you understand it. The words of God, then you understand logically, not illogically. Not illogically. So this has to be very clear. Therefore, purely on the basis of logic, you cannot establish Ishvara, number one. Then if Ishvara is established by the word of God, you have to be careful about these factors. So whichever organization tells you have to go against human values, there is a problem in that understanding of what religion is meant to do. Whichever religion it is. If tomorrow an Hindu religious leader says, I have to go and kill everybody because they don't believe in what I say, that's wrong. If the Hindu religious leader is saying we have to defend ourselves and our culture and heritage, that's a different thing. Because it's not aggression timed at somebody else. We are saying we have to defend ourselves. Correct some historical wrongs. That's fine. That's fine. Because history has been twisted out of context by a lot of people. In that context, if you want to read a good book, there is a book. The second part is yet to come out. First part has come out, called Saffron Swords. Saffron Swords, the resistance to the foreign invasions in India, which has been glossed over in history. Now all this is coming out now because we are beginning, our indigenous stories are coming out. We are breaking free from the colonial thinking. Sidelight. Nyaya Siddhi Ishvara, you have to be careful. Okay? Yeah. Yes, he is Nityam. Nityam. Therefore, there are a lot of Nityams in this. Every Dravya and Guna will become Nityam then. No? Exactly. Time and space are different in their Nityam. This is exactly how science believed. Newtonian physics believed that. Time and space are Nityam. Now we say they are limited, etc. after Einsteinian thinking. What was Einstein's period, do you remember? When he propounded the theory of relativity, etc. Before World War II, right? It must have been before World War II. So it has taken us almost 100 years for it to become normal thinking. In Vedanta, it is old thinking, okay? No problem. Okay. I will tell you a joke on that, but it is too unparliamentary to be recorded. Okay. Okay. So that is how creation takes place in this thing. Okay. Then along with space, again on the basis of experience, you are adding something else into it. What is that? Dik. Dik is direction. Akasha is space. Dik becomes direction. He says, Prachi adi vyavara hetu dik. Again taken from you. You say, na, eastern, the sun rises in the east. How have you fixed it up as the east? Somewhere you have dated, no? Yeah. Prachi, Paschima, Dakshina, Uttara, etc. We use these things. These are there in our common transactions. These are called directions. Such a eka. All directions are classified as one. Vibhavi Nityacha. All pervading, because anywhere you have these directions. And Nityam cha. They are taken as Nityacha. Feminine. Dik is feminine, that's why. Nityacha. They are eternal. Not really. Yeah, because of the global. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. All right. Then he goes into what is called as the Atma. Okay. Up to here, no problem. No, the Panchamayabhuta. What he has added is time, and what is added is direction. Okay. Because in functioning, direction becomes very, very important. Without direction, there is no function. North, south, east, west, even though we don't always think as north, south, east, west, the direction becomes very important in your functioning. When you are driving from one place to the other, when you are flying from one place to the other, without directions, how do you go? Direction, I mean east, west, north, south, not direction somebody telling you. That's your GPS. But GPS is based on your directions. Okay. The GPS directions are based on your directions. Then Atma. Jnana Adhikarnam Atma. Very interesting definition. The locus of knowledge. The locus of knowledge is Atma. Because mind only creates thoughts. So where will your knowledge be? In the Atma? Okay? That's how they look at it. Sadvida, it is twofold. Paramatma, Jivatma cha. There's a Paramatma and a Jivatma. Tatra, Paramatma is Ishvara. Sarvajnaha, Paramatma eka eva. There Paramatma is Ishvara and one. Monotheism there also. Okay. Jivatma prati shariram bhinnaha. Whereas Jivatma is what? Prati shariram bhinnaha. Different in any bodies. But at the same time, when released from the body, it becomes Vibhu. And Nityam cha, eternal. Nahanye sharire. That much they also accept. Because if you are talking about Ishvara and other dimensions, you have to accept a Deha Vetirikta Atma, an Atma which is different from the body. All religions accept it. Even heaven going religions. Why? Because who is there to go? Who is there to go? Somebody has to be there to go, na? Your body is not going. That's why they will say soul, etc. Yeah. Soul is a loose translation for Atma. It's not an exact defined translation. Because the soul is not defined. The soul is not defined in any of the Western religions, Occidental religions. It is not defined. Yeah. But here in Tarka they told only Jnana Adhikarna, the locus of this thing. Yeah. Okay. But Prati Sharira and Nityaha eternal. Okay. Okay, any this thing? Okay. That's why he says Paramatma is proved only by inference, he says. Okay.
Paramanu is Ishvara.
No, Paramanu is not Ishvara. The one who uses Paramanu to create is Ishvara. Yeah. Which has to be inferred because certain things I create. Who created the tree? Who caused the seed to sprout? Who caused the seed to come together? Because everything is a combination of this thing, atoms and molecules. Why each combination is different from the other? Because in a forest there are different types of trees. Natural forest. We are not talking about man-made forest. In a natural forest, there are different types of trees. Physical conditions remaining the same, what caused each tree to be different? Classes of trees, how did it cause? How did the Paramanus come together to form different seeds? So they will say Ishvara, inferred. There has to be an intelligence behind it, which is Ishvara. This is how they infer. Okay. We use the same logic for understanding. Remember the difference. We also use similar logic, but for understanding the pramana that says Ishvara is there. Abhinna nimitta upadana karanam, that was what the Upanishads say. Then how it is working out, we will use all this to understand. There has to be there because of this. Why should Ishvara be there? The Shastra says it. Is it a belief? Yeah. Then you are a believer. You don't know. So I have to logically understand. When I logically understand, use all this logic that Tarka uses plus some, then you understand. Correct. Ishvara has to be like that, has to function like this. Do you understand Ishvara in its totality? Ishvara, Saguna Brahman, will you understand in totality? No way. No way. Your mind is too small to understand totality. But Satyam Jnanam Anantam, Swarupa of Ishvara you can understand because that Swarupa is non-different from you. Therefore, this Nyaya is dualistic in nature. Okay? As other religions and other darshanas, it is dualistic in nature. Only Vedanta is non-dual, okay? Everything else is dualistic in nature. Advaita Vedanta is non-dual. Everything else is dualistic in nature. Yeah. Shoot. That's Vedanta. Now you're talking Vedanta or Nyaya? Okay. Yeah, shoot. Is individual. That's what we are saying. We are saying Ishvara is you. Correct. Is it? Total is individual. That's what we are saying. We are saying Ishvara is the Jiva. That is the statement. Tattvamasi, Ishvara is the Jiva. Then how do you come to the understanding? Lakshana, etc. Remember? You negate Bhagatyaga Lakshana. You will find 6-7 lectures explaining the Tattvamasi, etc. on the YouTube. And you will find it on my channel. So now you have 2 weeks gap, no? I'm not there for 2 weeks. Listen to it again. Listen to it again. That's why when you're studying this test, be very careful. That's why I'm showing you all the comparison, the difference with Vedanta. Otherwise, everything will become one holy mess in your mind. Nice Belpuri you will make out of the whole thing. Be careful. What am I doing by teaching you all this text? Developing your viveka. Refining your logic. Developing viveka, actually. That's why in olden days, Tarka was taught before you teach Vedanta. Yeah. In fact, traditional scholars will laugh at us. What they are teaching Vedanta without logic is illogical Vedanta. It is not. Because of our modern education, we have picked up some logic. It requires some refinement, that's all. Because this logic will not help you to understand Vedanta completely. This logic is meant for Vyavahara. But it gives you the base to go beyond and understand the Vedantic logic. This is classical logic, like in classical physics, in terms of Newtonian physics. Vedanta uses neurofuzzy logic. But if you don't understand logic itself, what neurofuzzy logic are you going to use? You will become illogical in the process. Unless you have a base in logic, and you are trying to extrapolate into something, it will become illogical. The logical people themselves have done that. They have extrapolated from one book being created to the whole creation is being created. That extrapolation is not valid. Vedanta will dismiss it by saying this is kitchen logic.
Swamiji, by studying this, your Nishtha in Vedanta increases
Huh.
because there are a lot of loopholes in this.
Yeah, there are a lot of. You cannot have so many nitya vastu. You cannot have so many vibhuhu, all pervading. Because nitya and all pervading, they should become identical. You should not become different. They can't be different. They have to be identical things.
And one they are saying.
Yeah.
Akasha is saying one.
Yeah. Yeah. So their oneness they are using in our conversational term. How we use in general vyavahara. Yeah. One thing alone. Then that becomes 1 plus 1, you know. There's one Ishvara, one me, one Akasha, one Vayu. How many ones are there? So even though you say Nitya, it becomes Anityam.
And creation is on the basis of perception, Ishvara is purely.
Exactly. So everything becomes Anitya. If there are so many Nityas, it means there are only Anitya. You are talking of relative Nityatvam. You are talking about a relative Nityatvam, meaning relatively speaking. Relative infinite. Like what? How many grains of sand are there on the beach? Oh, infinite. That's a relative infinite. It is not it's a practical infinity. It is not what they talk about infinity per se. Yeah. That's why in your school or college mathematics you would have studied tending towards infinity. Because you can't put infinity as a point. That becomes finite.
Swamiji, Vedanta Sadhana we studied perception-based eyes, etc. Then it was there, that people will have different eyesight, they will see differently. So how on the basis of perception, if you are trying to establish,
Yeah.
people may have different
See, that is why.
abilities.
See, that is why the system came about even in science to reduce subjectivity. Because they knew people are subjective. Now you are trying to keep the subject out of the picture in your observation. Therefore, even Vedanta does it to an extent by saying Vairagya. Because that is necessary, otherwise your subjectivity will color the whole thing. So, objectivity is necessary. But in Vedanta, eventually subject and object are one and the same. So, therefore, the difference is only to understand what the pure I is about. That's why I said in that Sampradaya with talk. You don't say I am different from the mind, you say I am independent of the mind, mind is dependent on me. Only then the thing will work, really speaking. So that's the refinement of the whole thing. Because if I say I am independent of the mind, I am different from the mind, mind becomes upright, I become upright. Like the banana and the peel. That's not what we are talking about. We are talking about like wave and ocean. The wave is dependent on the water, water is independent of the wave. Because water can exist without the wave. But the wave cannot exist without the water. Unless this wave, high. So there is where the whole picture comes in. Okay. Then a couple of things are left, but that we will see next class. Okay, it's already 12:35. So we meet again after 2 weeks. So your 2 week break to catch up on whatever you want to catch up, etc. Oh, that's